Judge Lee, I don't believe you were truthful in answering Senator Lee's questions. You wrote an article in 2010 entitled An Overview of Special Populations in California Prisons, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And in that article, you argued that male prisoners should be allowed to claim they are transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison, didn't you?
As I said to Senator Lee, that was an article which arose from a symposium, which I just moderated the panel, and then summarized for the symposium edition the different arguments and issues that were raised.
Well, I've read your article, and I don't think that's accurate. You identify certain special populations, transgender people, immigrants, and racial minorities. And you're very critical of the way the California prison system treats them.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Hot News Today. Today we're diving into a heated exchange from a recent Judiciary Committee hearing where Senator John Kennedy grilled Judicial Nominee Eumi Lee about some of her past writings. It's a clash of differing views on gender identity, prison policy, and the role of judges. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dives into important political moments like this one.
For example, I'm going to quote here, your words, not mine. The prison system relies heavily on a dichotomous sex-based means of classification. Prisoners are classified by their biological attributes rather than their gender identification. As described by one of the people in the California prison system, the classification process is gender neutral. We really don't distinguish between transgender and non-transgender inmates. Did I read that correctly?
Senator, I don't recall it word by word, but
Here it is.
So. Okay.
And at the end, here's your conclusion. Your words, not mine. In conclusion, because each of these populations, including transgender, traditionally has been marginalized by American society based on their gender, race, ethnicity, or status, they are often further distanced from and marginalized by society upon incarceration. A recent president said you can fairly judge the character of a society by how it treats the weak, the vulnerable, the most easily forgotten. Did you say that?
That's what was written.
Eumi Lee is being questioned by Senator Kennedy about a 2010 article she wrote. In that piece, Lee suggested that male prisoners could claim they are transgender to be moved to female prisons. Senator Kennedy didn't hold back, accusing Judge Lee of being less than truthful when answering his previous questions about this article. In the article, Judge Lee critiques the California prison system for its treatment of special populations like transgender people, immigrants, and racial minorities. She argues that the current system classifies prisoners based on biological sex, rather than gender identity. Senator Kennedy points out that her conclusions seem to support allowing male prisoners who identify as transgender to be placed in female prisons. That's a pretty controversial stance, especially when it comes to the safety and fairness of the prison system. But Lee denies that this was her position. Senator Kennedy isn't convinced. He challenges Lee, saying, "You wrote it, so don't you believe it?" Judge Lee deflects, saying that this article was over 13 years ago, and as a judge, she has to be impartial and fair to the law. But Senator Kennedy isn't backing down. He presses her on whether or not she believes that a male prisoner convicted in a court of law should be allowed to claim they're transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison.
And so, but you're saying your article is just a summary of the opinions of people that you moderated?
I moderated a panel. There were 3 panelists about those different topics. That's what was represented in terms of the issues. And
well, let me think you, do you think that a male prisoner convicted in a court of law on a final judgment should be allowed to claim that he is transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison?
Senator, as discussed earlier, the issue of assignment facilities and such as one which is being actively litigated in California and may become before me. If I were to be
now all of a
confirmed,
sudden you can't answer. You answered it in your law review article.
Senator,
you were for it. But now you can't answer it? Is that your testimony?
My testimony is that was an article from over 13 years ago, and that as a judge now, and as I have been for nearly the last 5 years, my responsibilities are to fully faithfully and
The truth is, you believe that a male prisoner should be able to allow at the sentencing phase to claim that he is transgender in order to be assigned to a female prison. Now, you believe that, don't you?
Senator,
You wrote it.
again, that was a piece which summarized and came out of a symposium edition about the California prison crisis generally.
Now before we move forward, I want to know what you think about this issue. Should prisoners be allowed to request gender-based assignments, or does it compromise the fairness and safety of the system? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.